I was sitting over at the table, and I had this speech, and one of my former assistant coaches were there, and every speech started out with the same words that I said. So they took my speech from me, but I'll do it anyway. Wow, what an honor. I have a lot of people to thank for both my career and also my life. I would like to thank my family, which is sitting here at this table, and they're my biological family and my married into family. And they came from Philadelphia, from Boston, and from Chicago today. So I just can't tell you how much that I appreciate you being here. I'm also so happy to be here the night that Bob McGee was honored. I worked with Bob for 3 years very closely, and he taught me so much. He was just a wonder, and he has such a great sense of humor. And his wife is here tonight, Twinnie, and she used to ride on all of the team buses to the away swim meets. And for anyone that has not coached a winter sport, they're thrilling rides. You know, you play Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts. Now, for those games, Bob never came to the school. He just let me get on the bus, and he could just drive up from home. But sometimes we go over Route 2 or Route 7, and I don't know if any of you have been on that, but the snow and the ice is beyond belief. And you're in this bus on a 2-lane road, and all you're doing is looking down, saying, please don't skid, please don't skid. And, he taught me so much about coaching and working with people. So, Bob, congratulations. I am just so thrilled that I'm here for you receiving the award that you received tonight. So thank you, Bob. I also need to thank all the coaches that I worked with over the 20 years that I was here. We argued sometimes. We yelled at each other when they ran practice, the football team especially, John, when they would run over maybe 15 minutes and, my field hockey team was waiting to get on the turf. But I have to tell you that every one of those coaches, it was an honor and a privilege to work with you and to be at Union when I was here, sorry. You get into trouble when you start naming names because you're always going to forget somebody. I purposely didn't mention the names of family members because I was afraid I'd forget their names. But I'm going to throw caution to the wind. What the heck? I told some of my players today I can almost do anything because they can't fire me anymore. Jim, you just really miss me. Okay, so some of the coaches are in the Hall of Fame already, but coaches like Brian Speck, he's not in the Hall of Fame, but he took over the women's soccer team and has done wonders with it. Susan Bassett, she was an amazing swimming coach, and I believe she's in the Hall of Fame. Al Bagnoli, I think he went to the University of Pennsylvania, and he did amazing things. He took the football team to the national championship. Charlie Robert, it was her speaking, and I was shocked to see her on the screen. I'm sorry that I have to say this, but John Audino, I also admired you and worked with you and just thoroughly enjoyed the time that I had with you. Judy Wolf, who was a swim coach. And then I was fortunate enough to have some assistant coaches that were just amazing. People like, who's here right now, Beth Hallenbeck. Okay, the Union field hockey team is over there. I apologize. She's the head coach of field hockey at Skidmore. Okay, now, but she was assistant here for about 10 years. People like Perky Francis. Perky's in the Hall of Fame. And, she's an international field hockey and lacrosse official, but she started here. Maureen DeLuke, she was here a little bit earlier. Wendy Weimer. The list just goes on and on. But I learned something from each of those assistant coaches. I won't tell you what I learned from Beth. Okay? I'm sorry, Beth. I call her Betty, but her name is Beth, just so you know. The administration and sports support staff, sports information, equipment manager, trainers. Yeah, I don't know if Cheryl's here. Is Cheryl here? Okay, well, she's working, and she was working when I was here. She's getting really old, okay? Yeah. Administrative staff, yes, the athletic director and, the secretaries. Every support staff person was just unbelievable. I can't tell you how hard they worked to help the teams. Okay, now, I'm going to probably go over the 5 minutes, but now, the most important group for me to thank tonight are the student athletes that are here. I'm warning you all that I did read the letters. You can be on the field tomorrow at 6. We'll do some wind sprints for some of the things that you said. I'm denying all aspects of that. But the truth is that if it was not for the student athletes, none of this would happen. It's the student athletes that are the heart and the soul of the program and of Union. It was such an honor for me. I was at the football game yelling today, and that's why my voice sounds like this. But I was such an honor to share 4 years of your life. Unless you're in coaching and teaching, you just don't understand how much the student athlete and the students give back to you. I mean, it's such a rewarding profession. And I know that the coaches that are here right now understand that. There are several members here, and I know that Jim already did this, but I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway, is that I would like all the players at one time, so you're not individuals, please stand up that are already members of the Hall of Fame. And I don't care if you're on the football team, I don't care if you're on the soccer team, just every student athlete that is a member of the Hall of Fame, just stand up right now. And just, come on, get out of those seats. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, they're the reason we're here. That's the reason. I'm not going to name very many of those because they just stood up and got applause. But what I'm going to say, I want to recognize all of those players that came to every practice. They came to every game. They ran every wind sprint. They did everything that I asked. They played against, in quotes, the stars of the teams, and that's a lot of the Hall of Famers that stood up and made them better. they're the ones that bring the heart, the soul, and the character to the teams. You know, these are the players that never got Athlete of the Week with the Concordiensis. And I want to tell you, the Concordiensis is the 13th oldest student newspaper in the United States. And it is the oldest continuing being published newspaper in Schenectady. Okay? I mean, that's part of being union, is that type of history. So these characters, these athletes, these unsung heroes that did bring their humor, their heart, and their soul, that's what brought a winning tradition to Union, where those athletes that are not in the Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame people helped, but it was all the other players that were so, so important. And now I'm going to get into trouble again. I'm going to start naming names. And I don't know if you realize, but I mean, I have hundreds, if not thousands, of names in my head. And I promise I'm not going to say all of them. Okay, people like Roberta Stein. And by the way, these are their maiden names because I could never remember their married names. Lisa Freed, M.B. Burnett, Nancy Colt, Deb Downey, Sue Ensel, Autumn Cohen, Fiona Sucre, Barbara Swartz, I know Barbara's not here, Kay Lynch, Nora Tuthill, Elaine Pick, Patty Richards, Johanna Briggs, and then a few names, and this is really important for me, a few names that I did not coach, but they made an impact on my life. Julie Miller, she was an outstanding tennis player. Ron Plum was a football player, and unfortunately he passed away his senior after 2 weeks before he was going to graduate here at Union. But he made such an impact on my life. You know, I'm standing here and I'm looking at Jim, and he told us we had to be a certain time limit, and my sister is there saying, "You're way over." Okay, so that's sisterly love for you. But I can do it because he can't fire me anymore. You know, it's great. The last thing that I want to touch upon is Title IX. I'm trying, this is not a political thing, okay? I just need to do some history. Title IX was enacted in 1972. The NCAA had a lawsuit against Title IX in 1976, trying to get rid of it. Okay, let that sink in. Okay? The Supreme Court upheld Title IX at the end of 1976, and in 1977, all of the coaching jobs in the nation opened up for women. And I was fortunate that I had 10 years of experience and I could come to Union. If you don't think Title IX is important, then just think of the U.S. women's soccer team, and they're still fighting for equality. When I got here, was it equal? No, it was not equal. And I'm not sure that it's equal now. I know it's much better. I know it's much better. So many of the coaches have told me that. And it's because of Jim. And I know that. The thing that's important is that I still hope that the young athletes, the ones sitting over there at that table, participation in athletics is so important for women. it makes them strong women, and we need strong women to continue the fight for equality. And I know that the young ladies over there, field hockey, I'm passing this on to you. I'm not done. I'm not dying, okay? But you need to know what the history is and continue to support women's athletics and equality for women. Again, I want to thank you for this honor. It truly belongs to every one of those old students over there, because without them, I would not be here. You were the ones that were willing to work hard, to play hard, and become absolutely the most wonderful, supportive women that are both in industry and education that you are today. So thank you all. I just cannot tell you what this means. Thank you.